Hello, my TOK friends. Welcome to your favorite part of the extended essay, doing your citations. Nah, citations are no one's favorite part, not even nerdy librarians like me. But they are a requirement. They are the easiest way to earn points on your extended essay, just as long as you're willing to follow some basic rules. And it they are an expectation for being an ethical researcher. So I'm going to try to show you what tools I recommend that you use to get your citations done. And that ultimately leads us to the question that is the title of this screencast, which is, do we really have to use Noodletools? And the simple answer to that is the same answer I've given you since ninth grade when you've been asking me. And the answer is no. However, more than ever before, for this research project, your extended essay, I'm going to strongly recommend that you do use it because of the advantages that comes along with your MCPS Noodletools accounts. And it's going to make your life easier, especially if you are a Chicago to Arabian style person. But first, I want to show you most people's favorite EasyBib, show you what is good, but also what the limitations are for EasyBib for this project, so that you know why I'm recommending Noodletools to do what you need to do. But I know that seeing this screen of Noodletools is giving you nightmarish flashbacks to middle school when they required you to fill in every single little box on it, and you just hated it for that reason. But let's come back to that. So most people, most students prefer EasyBib for a number of reasons. And one of them is that you can install an extension to your Chrome browser that simplifies the process. So here I have EasyBib installed on my Chrome browser. And when I come to a website like the New York Times, all I have to do is click on this button, and it gives me the option to cite this page on EasyBib. And when I click on that, what is so beautiful to so many people is that it will automatically fill in so many of those boxes for you. And I'll be honest with you, that is Noodletools' biggest weakness, is that it doesn't have a Chrome extension that will do the exact same thing. So that is definitely a positive for EasyBib. However, there are some things that you need to know about that your IB evaluators will be looking for. So one thing that will often happen is that it will by default load content published originally on a website, but you know the New York Times is actually an online newspaper. So make sure that you, if you're using the EasyBib extension, that you do change the source type. Now, something else that it happens quite frequently, not all the time, but quite frequently, is that the content that EasyBib automatically populates in the boxes are wrong. So, for example, on this website, it says that it was electronically published on the 13th of May, 2020, right? And then it even has a time box that it leaves blank. Now, if I go to this article, you'll see that, yes, it was published on May 13th, 2020, but it was updated May 14th, 2020 at 8:46 a.m. And in the online world, the most important information is not when it was necessarily first published, but when it was last revised, to make sure that that information is as accurate and up to date as possible. So this is actually the information that you should have put into that EasyBib box. So that's simple. Just know that on other websites that it will mess up the title, it will mess up the article title, it will get other information wrong, and you just have to be willing to fix it. And sometimes kids just become kind of brain dead and they just automatically click on the button. And that's what you need to avoid doing. So just as long as you're willing to make small edits, sometimes big edits, The EasyBib extension is definitely an advantage. Now, what are some of the disadvantages when it comes to the extended essay? Well, here I am logged into my EasyBib account right now, and you're going to see that I have used 0 of 1 ad-free citations. So yes, you are limited. I think it's per day for the number of citations that you can do for free. Now, it used to be that you could do anything nonstop in one sitting. Then they added it so that you can only do one a day. And then they were bought by another company and they said, okay, well, we're going to stick a lot of advertising on it. And you'll see on my screen, I have 2 ad blockers that are automatically installed by MCPS. So one thing that I can do is I can turn these off and it will give me more free citations if I'm willing to look at advertisements. Just know that that if you have a slower Wi-Fi connection and or a slower Chromebook, those advertisements can grind your work to a halt. Now, the Chromebook that I'm using now is a touchscreen. It's a little bit newer. It works fine. I have an older Chromebook that has a slower processor, and it ground my work to a halt. And it was actually really annoying. So yes, you can turn off your ad blockers, and you can get more citations done for free, and then you'll be able to use it. But for some of you, that's going to be a deal breaker. So one of the limitations of EasyBib, though, is that if you use the free version, it only allows you to do MLA. So if you're going to do an APA style or a Chicago Turabian style for your paper, EasyBib isn't even going to give you that option. So those are other limitations when it comes to EasyBib that you should know about. Now, when it comes to Noodletools, there are smart ways to use Noodletools that I've been showing you since 9th grade, and I'm gonna focus on those now. So if we come back to Noodletools, and you click on login, what you are going to want to do is to log in with Google, because your .NET account is where your free access is. If you haven't used this ever or in a super long time, it may ask you to update your graduation year for it. But notice I have a whole bunch of just dummy projects that I've started here. You may need to start a new project and give it a title, but I do have an extended essay 2020 box going on here where I just have one source. And where you would go is actually up here to sources. And now this is going to list all of your sources for you. Now, what I want to do is show you how to save a lot of time on Noodletools to make your life easier. So when you come to a database, that make sure that the database doesn't do the citation for you, because most of them do. So for example, here's something that I found on COVID-19 on Questia School. And I added it to my project. And when I do that, notice it will actually create a bibliography for me. Make sure you're doing MLA 8 if you're doing MLA, but notice you have APA and you have Chicago. So I'm going to click Create. And now here is my citation. So what I recommend that you do is that you get the citation done for you. You copy it. So I did Control C right there. And then when I come back to Noodletools, and I'm going to click New Source. And then it says, well, what kind of source do I have? Well, Questia is a database, but I'll be honest with you, what I'm about to show you, it doesn't matter what you click on. So I could click on a conference proceedings, and it doesn't matter for it, because I'm not coming here to fill in all these boxes when the citation's already done for me. I'm going to click copy and paste a citation. And so now when I do this, it brings up this box right here, and I can hit Control V and paste my citation right in that box, and I hit save. And now it is going to add this to my list. And now I have 2 citations for it. Now, let's some other things to look for within your databases. So here's another COVID-19 article. This is Gale Academic One File Select. So this is actually an academic journal database that I've recommended that you guys look for. If you haven't been using it, go back and look at it. But notice this also has a cite option, so that when I do it, yes, I can select it and I can copy it, Control C, but also notice I can export it to Noodletools or EasyBib or whatever it happens to be. And what this will do is this will log it into your account, and then it will export it directly into your account. I've already copied and pasted it, so I've copied it, so I'm just going to paste it into my Noodletools here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click New Source. Doesn't matter what I click on here because I'm not using it to fill in all these boxes. I'm using it just so I can do the quick cite, copy and paste a citation that I'm saying is already done for me. Whoops. See, I bumped something. Do it right. So now here's my box. Paste it, save it, and now you've got more. So one of the limitations of Citation Machine is that it does not allow you to carry these over multiple days. If you don't have the ad popper, the ad blocker turned off for EasyBib, same thing. It's going to limit what you can do for it. It used to be that you can only do one a day and it wouldn't let you carry over from day to day in the free version of EasyBib. But one upgrade that they have is that now you can save it for it. Just know that you can only do that for MLA. But in Noodletools, now I've got my 3 citation. Let's say I'm completely done, 3 sources for my extended essay. Yeah, right. But let's say you have all of your citations here. You've been saving these over multiple days, weeks, months, working on your extended essay, and you're ready to finalize your paper. So one thing that is beautiful about doing your sources and citations in Noodletools is with the push of a button, it's going to create your works cited page, your references page, or your bibliography page if you're doing Chicago Turabian style. Is with the push of a button, it's going to do it all for you. So now when I click on print and export, I can choose Word, I can choose rich text format, I can do Google Docs. Let's do Google Docs for it. So when I click on this link right now, it's blocking my pop-up. So I have to turn that off. So that is a good thing for me to know. I'm going to turn off my pop-up blocker. And I'm going to turn off this pop-up blocker. So that's good to know. So I'm going to pause. Do not run on this website. Exclude. Good. Okay. So now when I do it, I'm going to click on the drop-down menu. I'm going to go export to a Google Doc. It's going to make sure that it's connected to the correct account. So here's my .NET account. Now we've taken those 3 citations from 3 different places, and notice what Noodletools did for me automatically. It knew that whatever is listed first in the citation is going to be alphabetized. So E comes before M, M comes before O, and it automatically organized it for me. It knew that this should be titled Works Cited. Not works cited, but works cited. It should be capitalized. Notice that it also figured out that all of these things need to be double spaced. Notice there is no extra line in between. So it does all this formatting for you just with the push of a button. So if you're using Noodletools, the ending page, whether it's your reference page, your works cited page, or your bibliography page, depending on what style you're using, it's going to be done for you in the push of essentially one button. Now, one last thing that I want to point out to you, and um, it is mostly important for you Chicago people out there, um, but it is available for MLA and APA. It's just that it's probably not necessary for those styles. Is that under options, one of the things that it has and it gives you is in-text reference. So this is going to tell you what actually should go in parentheses in this case, because it's MLA, it's going to give you an example where it says that your rule is for at the end of the sentence, you'll have parentheses, the author's last name, space, page number if there is one, close parentheses, period. Now, if you're doing Chicago, this is going to be so valuable because what goes into those footnotes is going to change every single time you do a citation, and it's going to give you exactly what you need to just copy and paste. So instead of it being a generic example like this, it's going to actually be exactly what you put in your footnote. And I'll be honest with you, I've never learned how to figure out what would actually go into the footnote because it changes. What you put the first time is different than what you put the second time, and it's different if you have the same source two times in a row or if there's another source changing it. So Noodletools is going to tell you how to do that. EasyBib will not do that. Citation Machine will not do that, but Noodletools will. So for those of you who are considering doing Chicago, know that you really have to use Noodletools because this idea of clicking on options, in-text reference, and what pops up is going to be perfect. And then you're going to save yourself so much time and so much hassle if you do that. So that's how you should use Noodletools. The simple answer to the question, do I have to use it? No, you don't have to use it, just as long as you do everything properly. But for this project, since you can save sources over multiple days, since you can get multiple sources without any type of advertising, without having to deactivate your pop-up blocker and maybe slow down your internet, and maybe make your Chromebook crawl to a halt, the fact that it's going to, with the push of a button, organize all of your sources for you. The fact that if you have a database where the citation's already done for you, you can just paste it into a box and it will add it to this list here. Because of all of those advantages, I really, really recommend that you use Noodletools for this project. So I look forward to seeing you all as for a Zoom to answer any questions for me. You can also always email me, but that is why you don't have to use Noodletools, but I do recommend.